From a sinkhole in Mexico that nearly swallowed a house and continues to grow in size, to a popular scuba diving location that is filled with unexploded bombs hidden in the murky water, here are 10 of the most dangerous holes on Earth. Located within the Pechengsky district of Russia exists something known as the Kola super deep borehole, the deepest hole ever dug by mankind. Work on this project first began on May 24th of 1970 with the goal of learning more about our planet's outer crust. Roughly 9 years after the project began, a new world record depth had been reached. By 1989, the hole measured a whopping 40,230 feet deep. Due to higher-than-expected temperatures at this location, drilling any further was deemed impossible, and the project was soon abandoned. Now, people have reported hearing screams and strange sounds coming from the location, but scientists seem to mostly dismiss these sightings. Today, the hole is sealed by a rusty metal lid seemingly placed in the middle of nowhere, a rather creepy reminder of what lies beneath. Within the central highlands of Mexico lies the sovereign state of Puebla. Back in June of 2021, residents in the town of Santa Maria Zacatepec reported hearing a loud rumbling sound off in the distance. Intrigued, they set out to see what it was, and were shocked to find a massive sinkhole in the middle of a field. Over the coming weeks, the sinkhole continued to grow, coming as close as a few feet away from swallowing an entire farmhouse. After an investigation, the cause was determined to be from natural limestone erosion. To make matters worse, much of the surrounding area was also built atop this same material. Today, the sinkhole has grown to be roughly 400 feet across, almost 4 times larger than it was initially. If it continues to grow, the consequences could be catastrophic for the local farmers. Sinkholes like these are almost always unpredictable, making much of the surrounding area a rather dangerous place to live. The city of Kimberley in South Africa is one with a rich mining history. Despite having no more than 210,000 inhabitants and being a victim of the Second Boer War, this community managed to achieve a feat that many people thought was impossible. In 1871, a stunning 83.50 carat diamond was found on the slopes of Colesberg Kopje. The appearance of this diamond led to a series of fights and claims known as the New Rush. After 800 claims were registered on the hill, the appearance of the diamond led 3,000 workers to begin frantically digging in the earth. By 1914, nearly 50,000 miners had worked the mines in the worst possible human conditions. The excavation led to 7,853 people being rushed to the Kimberley Hospital, with 1,144 dying. Most of the accidents were related to rock falls, the use of explosives, and the inexperience of the workers. Combine this with various diseases, and the big hole became a place where death seemingly lurked around every corner. By 1914, the mine closed up shop once and for all, but not before gaining the title as one of the deepest holes ever excavated by hand. Within the great state of Texas lies Edwards County. With a population of under 1,500 people, it's safe to say it's a rather rural place. The most populated town is Rock Springs, and it's here where this next hole was discovered. The Devil's Sinkhole is a historic cave system and tourist attraction in the area. What makes this place unique, though, is not its depth or its size, but rather that it is the home of several million Mexican free-tailed bats who come out at night and fill the skies. The creation of the Devil's Sinkhole is believed to have happened millions of years ago from water erosion of the limestone in the ground. Over time, the surface weakened and gave way, allowing the hole to be discovered by those on the surface. In recent years, this area has also been the site of 3 deaths from tourists who wanted to get a closer look and ended up falling into the bat-infested abyss. Just off the coast of the small Thai island of Samee-San is a place known as the Samee-San Hole. It is an underwater sinkhole that reaches a whopping 280 feet deep in some places. It is commonly referred to as one of the most dangerous diving sites in the world, and you're about to find out why. Aside from strong currents which have been known to push divers off course, another threat lurks within these waters. Many years ago, this hole was used as a military dumping ground. To make a long story short, there are hundreds of unexploded bombs located here. Unfortunately, it is in our nature to be drawn to danger, which makes this underwater sinkhole a tourist hit. It is not recommended to dive here unless you are a true expert, and even then, mistakes can be made. For now, all we can do is wait and hope that nothing tragic ever occurs at the infamous Samee-San hole. Back in 2016, a sinkhole opened up in central Florida that would end up threatening the drinking water for over 10 million Floridians. It all began in late August of that year when the world's largest supplier of phosphate, a company called Mosaic, announced that a sinkhole was discovered beneath a pile of waste material. This allowed more than 200 million gallons of contaminated wastewater to leak into the state's main source of drinking water, the Floridan aquifer. Federal and state agencies were quick to respond, and together with Mosaic began to work to solve the problem. Nearly 2 years later, a company spokesperson announced that it had been sealed at last. Not much is known about the impact on drinking water. Some experts say that the supply was ultimately not impacted, while 3 nearby residents did end up suing the company, only to drop the cases a year later. Given how prone to sinkholes the state is, let's hope that better measures are taken to prevent something like this from happening again. Located deep within the Ural Mountains of Russia is the city of Berezniki. At its peak, the population here was estimated at over 150,000 people. The city itself was built right on top of a potash mine, a common practice during the time it was developed. After over 100 years of operation, the mines developed a problem nobody seemed to consider. They left deep voids beneath the city, and today it is plagued with sinkholes. These deep mines had ceilings that were supported only by the walls and huge pillars of salt. In 2006, water began flowing into the mines, and it quickly started to dissolve the salt pillars. Now, many residential areas are impacted by sinkholes, which can be found throughout the city. The largest of these sinkholes, nicknamed the Grandfather, is nearly 1,200 feet across and more than 600 feet deep. This hole threatens to destroy the only rail line which still services the parts of the mine which continue to remain operational. This would be a huge hit to the local economy, as the Berezniki mines produce around 10% of the world's potash. Lake Berryessa is the largest lake/reservoir in Napa County, California. It was formed following the construction of the Monticello Dam. But during the dam's construction, engineers realized that there was not enough room to build a big channel and overflow berm. So they had to construct a unique drainage system by building a giant drainage tunnel. The entrance to this drain sits on the surface of the lake and is referred to as the glory hole. The real danger here is that if anyone were to get sucked into or fall into the hole, it would almost definitely mean death. Swimming is already off limits in the area, but stopping someone in the act would still be quite the challenge. All we can really do is sit back and hope for the best. Within the Hawa-Sari-Sari-Nama National Park in Venezuela sits the Cerro Sari-Sari-Nama, a flat-topped mountain with an altitude between 980 feet and 7,710 feet. It is a very remote location, with the closest road to the mountain being 35 miles away. Along with it being so isolated, the mountain also has a number of sinkholes atop its summit. These are the most distinctive features of this mountain. First sightings of these sinkholes came in 1954 when pilots began flying over the mountain, reporting the strange features. However, they weren't fully explored until 1974 when the first people finally went to the summit. Investigations were done at a couple of the sinkholes, including a descent into one. After numerous expeditions, it was found that there were a total of 4 sinkholes. 2 sinkholes, Sima Humboldt and Sima Martel, are incredibly large and very unusual. Each of these sinkholes have isolated forests on their bottom that also have their own ecosystems. The largest one, Sima Humboldt, is about 1,155 feet wide and nearly 1,030 feet deep. Another sinkhole, the Sari-Sari-Nama sinkhole, has been very important for the exploration of the processes of erosion on flat-topped mountains. Back in 2010, one of the most unbelievable and widely publicized sinkholes was discovered in the middle of Guatemala City, Mexico. The sinkhole opened up in the middle of the city, swallowing a 3-story factory. Investigations into what caused the sinkhole were immediately started. It was found to be a combination of a few different factors. One minor factor was the eruption of the Pacaya volcano. It released ash clouds into the surrounding area, which fell and collected on the ground. Another potential reason was just off the coast of the country was Tropical Storm Agatha. This system carried massive amounts of rain with it, which, when mixed with the ash, triggered some lahars, or violent mud flows. Also, the abundance of groundwater eroded some of the soil beneath the surface. However, there was one last factor that was found to be the biggest contributor to the sinkhole. Beneath the streets of the city, sewage pipes had been deteriorating and were in desperate need of repair. These pipes leaked constantly. Over the many years, the earth beneath the city eroded away. Also, since so many of the pipes were clogged from the mud created by the volcano and the rainwater from Agatha, the groundwater inundated the soil below. It was the perfect storm of terrible things. Plans were immediately made to fill in the sinkhole with a product called soil cement, which is made from cement, limestone, and water. However, scientists recommended filling the hole with large boulders, rocks, and gravel, giving water a proper way to flow. Hey, if you enjoyed this video and want to see more just like it, then be sure to click the link on screen now. With that, thank you all for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.